Welcome viewers and subscribers to another program. This week we want to touch on a topic that has been dogging the Jamaican public for years, and that is bad deals suffered by consumers. There's an article in The Observer that we want to draw some inference from, but before we do, please remember to subscribe, like and share. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Stay for the enlightenment. Have your say. Get involved. Subscribe, comment, click, share. Let's go. The article is titled CAC Gets Historic 7 Million Payday for Aggrieved Consumer. Let's read. The smiles are broader these days in the corridors of the Consumer Affairs Commission after its protection tribunal awarded a client $7.6 million, the largest ever compensation granted by the watchdog body. Consumer activist Vernon Darby, host of Nationwide Radio's At Your Service program, reported the award on his Bark the Truth blog Friday, saying, "This is an exciting story for consumers because consumers oftentimes complain that they do not have an organization to defend them." Sasha Gay Russell, legal officer at the CAC, said, "The award was made as a result of the consumer entering into a contract with a used car dealership to purchase a vehicle for the sum of $5.4 million. Russell did not name the consumer or the used car dealership, saying only that numerous issues had occurred after the purchase which led the consumer to seek the assessment services of a motor loss adjusting and motor appraisal company. The loss adjusters concluded that the vehicle had met in a heavy collision in Japan, and sections of the vehicle were evidently refinished. The consumer was also informed that there was an issue with the odometer reading, and that data trouble codes were observed in the vehicle's fault memory. The consumer placed the matter before the tribunal on August 19, 2020, and the ruling of the tribunal was given on October 22, 2021. The tribunal held that certain sections of Consumer Protection Act were breached. Section 23, damaged goods sold to consumer. Section 24, return of defective goods. And Section 30, false or misleading representation. A breakdown of the award shows that the consumer received $5.4 million for the purchase price, $2.1 million for loss of use for 846 days, $62,500 for valuation and cost storage fees, and record fee of $9,500. It is possible under the law for the vendor to apply to the Supreme Court for a judicial review of the tribunal's decision. If the vendor is successful, the decision may be overturned. But celebrating the occasion, Dulce Allen, the CAC Chief Executive Officer, said, "The right for effective redress is one of the most fundamental consumer rights. Quite often consumers make high-value purchases like motor vehicles and think there is no redress when something goes wrong." Quote, "However, the CAC believes in value for money, and in this instance, we are satisfied that the ruling has enabled the consumer to get back their hard-earned money." End quote. Derby, who is a commissioner at the Consumer Affairs Commission, said, "The CAC over the years had received a small budget, but had nevertheless used the media and its staff members to educate consumers about their rights." Quote, "The organization, while using the personal touch to reach consumers and to get their complaints, is now putting greater emphasis on using the technology to get a fair deal for consumers." He urged consumers to lend their support to the CAC for greater results. Now, I am happy that this lady has gotten back her money and possibly interest that was accrued. The public has been dealt a raw deal by some of these companies, not just car dealership. It's right across the board. There seems to be hardly any redress for consumers when they spend their money and get a raw deal. I was one, and I'm still not sure I'm quite convinced that these watchdog bodies are really working for the benefit of the Jamaican public. Like OUR. I think OUR is a big waste of time for taxpayers' money, because the only time I hear about OUR is when they're granting increase to these utility companies. And very vaguely, you hear that they come up big for the consumers. So I won't wholeheartedly put my trust in these bodies, but if it's a turn of the tide that they're going to work for the Jamaican people, I welcome it and I endorse it. Because too often, and especially for those who don't even know that they can go and fight these cases, and sometimes the truth is, to fight the case is even more challenging, more of a cost than to even get back what was lost. And that is a big problem.
And you know, one of the other challenges I had with this article, well, not the article itself, but the content therein. Why are they not naming the car dealership? Why aren't they trying to protect unsuspecting customers from these people? Why are we afraid to name these companies when they wrong the public? Why? Why this protectionism for some of these companies when they do wrong? People have a right to know.
So the Jamaican people need to be a little bit more cognizant of the fact that some of these people who have big businesses, they're really scammers. They're really scammers. And I'm not saying all of them are. Sometimes there are faults that lie beyond their control, but redress must happen and must happen swiftly, because too often consumers are left bearing the brunt of a bad deal, and that's not right. That's my 2 cents. What you have to say about it?